everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Mads and thank you for clicking on today's video. I am so sorry for not having a full video out last week. For some reason, all my classes decided to plan a whole bunch of big things right in the same week. So I was trying to do a lot of these like big assignments as well as still going about my typical work schedule. So I decided to not film a full video. Instead, I just did a cute little short, my first YouTube short that I've ever done. So please go check that out and like, comment as always. It's just a cute little unboxing video and it honestly made my week to get that book in the mail, and I will be talking a little bit more about it today, but if you want to see me unbox it and see my just complete joy of getting that, go check out that short. So yeah, no video last week, and I can't do the video I was planning on doing last week this week because it is March 1st, at least for me. And that means I need to do my February wrap up. I'm so glad February is over. Oh my gosh, this month was just a lot. If you had a great month, I'm so happy for you. I cannot say the same. It was really rough, mainly because of school. So I'm here now. If you saw my January wrap up and saw me kind of discuss my February TBR, you may know that I said how excited I was, how this February was going to be so much better than last February, which I only read 2 books in, and I lied. I read 3 books this month. And you may be like, but Mads, that's 1 more than last February. Last February, I also annotated a book, and those just inherently take me longer. So I feel like they kind of equal out. So yeah, let's dive into it. I have Luna here behind me. She kind of hides perfectly behind my head as I'm filming. So I'm sorry if you don't really get to see her that much if I'm just blocking her. And I also have a hot chocolate. It's funny, I feel like a lot of people will be like, I have a coffee with me, cute drink, and I am like, here's my hot cocoa. Don't judge me, okay? Coffee makes my tummy hurt, so I'm drinking hot cocoa. And I'm almost out of chai, which sucks because I can't actually buy it at our grocery store here. I have to go back home to do it, so it's fine. Anyways, I have my hot cocoa, I have my cat. It's time to talk about some books. This is gonna be too hot. Yeah, it was pretty hot. Okay, first off, I started off the month with The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. This was actually the only Rick Riordan book I read this month, which is crazy compared to last month because I've just been devouring his books lately. I think a part of that also is I am buddy reading it with my best friend / roommate Laurel, and it's a little bit hard with school because I feel like our schedules don't line up a lot, and like she'll have time to read, but then I won't, or I'll have time to read and she isn't ahead, and so I'll just like pick up another book. But it's still working out really great, and I love buddy reading this series with her, and it's honestly just been so much fun. So we both finished The Mark of Athena. So this one is the 3rd book in the Heroes of Olympus series. If you don't know, that one is kind of a continuation of the Percy Jackson series, where Percy Jackson and a whole bunch of other demigods, specifically 6 other demigods, have to go on and save the world again from another big bad Greek mythology thing. And it's honestly super fun. This book, you get to see them all come together, because the first 2 books, it's just like you see different trios, and then in this one we actually do get to see them all actually interact, and it's honestly so much fun. I love getting to see them all interact. I feel like I don't hate Jason as much as I used to when I was younger now. Like, he's definitely not my favorite character, but I still like have moments where I can appreciate him. He still makes me really mad because it's like, I don't know, I just blatantly favor Percy, so any moment where anybody is like, Jason's better than Percy, I kind of want to like slap some people upside the head, but it's fine. It's just like a me thing. But I did enjoy some of Jason's like perspectives in this. I love getting to see some certain friendships develop, like Leo and Hazel. Their little weird friendship developing is honestly super cute because I love both of those characters, and I love just getting to see Leo more. Like, I just love Leo, and I feel like in this book we get to see him kind of thrive in his element of being on the ship that he built. I honestly think that is so cool. And as always, I just love all the Greek mythology aspects, and the ending, once again, always has me screaming. I love this ending so much, and it's so weird because of how much just angst and turmoil is in this ending, but at the same time it's like, come on, you can't not love that ending because of how insane it is. Like, it's insane. And if you've read this book, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I loved getting to see Laurel's reaction when she read it, because it's her first time reading the series. And so, Laurel, I'm sorry, but it is kind of entertaining to see other people reading it for the first time. I think this one took me a little bit longer to get through than the first two, but that also makes sense with school and everything coming into full gear, full whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it does make sense that I would get through this one a little bit slower, especially because I haven't read this one maybe since I first read it. I think this is actually my first time rereading this one, because I always stop at the Sun and Neptune because I get distracted, I get bored. I always end up moving on from my determined reread, but this time I really am determined to reread the series, and so I am so glad I did it. It's also weird, like, time-wise, because I feel like everything in my head took longer than it actually did in the book, which is also super weird. And that's like kind of just a thing when it comes to rereading, I feel like, because like things are a little bit different than what you remember reading it the first time, especially if it's been a long time since you read it. I'm gonna stop talking about this now so I can move on. I will always love this book series, and I am so glad that I am rereading it, even though I say that a million times. Next, I read an arc from NetGalley. I've been so determined to fix my NetGalley ratio, and we are honestly making wonderful progress. So I'm not going to be too mad that I only read one this month, because I feel like I read, did I read 2 last month or 3? Either way, that's good. I'm doing great, wonderful, amazing things. So I read These Deadly Prophecies by Andrea Tang, and guys, this book was like insane. It's like kind of an urban fantasy, and the fantasy aspect is that there are these kind of sorcerers that are just integrated into the modern world, and there's like kind of 3 main types, and our main character Tabitha, which is such like a witch's name, and I love that. She's a sorcerer's apprentice, and she's actually studying to become a prophet, or like a sorcerer who deals in prophecies and telling the future, which is so cool. And she's working for like the big name in not only just like prophecy, but in kind of all of sorcery and everything, and it's super interesting. But this guy literally predicts his own death, and when this prophecy comes to pass, she kind of has to be the one to figure it out, and due to her mentor's instructions, she actually has to work with his son Callum to figure out this mystery, and it's honestly insane. And this book reminded me so much of like a magical version of Knives Out. It has very similar vibes and themes to it, like this really rich family, the head of the family dies, everybody else is like kind of a suspect for murder, and everybody else wants the inheritance. So it's like honestly so much fun, and it just has this extra element of magic to it, which is even better because, I don't know, like magic just makes everything more fun. So I loved that. I ended up rating this book a 4-star, which I honestly think is really good. I love Tabitha. Like, I honestly related to her a lot. I feel like a lot of the time she was just kind of questioning like, what's going on? Like, what am I doing here? Like, should I be doing this kind of stuff going through her head? And I'm like, I would be feeling the exact same way. Like, if I was in her situation, I would be like not wanting to deal with any of it. And then Callum was just like, guys, I loved Callum, okay? Like, Callum had my heart. I was like slightly iffy on him at first, and then he like said something that made me laugh. And then I was like hooked on him. Like, he was just so cute, and the way he interacted with Tabitha, just like, I love him. And he very much has that like kind of golden retriever energy. And I also love the aspects of Tabitha's family that we get to see. And it's really funny because there's that kind of like interaction between her and her parents where they're always like, I wish you weren't a sorcerer, like why can't you be a lawyer or something like that, which I honestly find like super funny, seeing that family dynamic kind of compared to this other family dynamic of the sorcerers, which are just kind of like, why can't you be a better sorcerer and stuff like that, which is just kind of like a funny balance, which I honestly really appreciated. I will say the reason I didn't give this book a 5-star, the reason it wasn't just like everything to me, I didn't love the ending. It felt a little cheesy. And then I think there were just like some moments where I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is like good, but I'm not like going feral for it. But there were kind of like a few points where like I was like getting really into it, which I really loved, which I think is why I'm giving it a 4-star, because it's like it wasn't my new everything, but also at the same time like I was super into it. I loved it. And even if I didn't love love the ending. I just still really enjoyed this book, and I'm so glad that I got to read it. So thank you, Penguin Teen, for sending me this e-arc. After I read These Deadly Prophecies, I read Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. Okay, there's a reason I picked up this book. If you've seen my 24 books for 2024, you will know that this book was actually on that list. Like, I've been wanting to get to this book, and the urge came to me to read this book because of this show that I've been really obsessed with lately. Okay, so I've been obsessed with the show called Vox Machina, which is actually based off of the D&D campaign from Critical Role, and it was actually their first campaign, and Critical Role is just like this really big D&D group who stream their like sessions. The show is just literally an animated version of that, and I have been going absolutely feral for it. And because of that, I needed a book that would feel kind of like a D&D campaign, and I thought that this book would satisfy that need. I was wrong. This book follows a lot of different characters. It's actually multi-POV and a very long, heavy fantasy book. It follows mainly Coraine, our main heroine, who is actually the daughter of a pirate, as she kind of gets dragged into this whole like quest to save the world because this guy, Turistan, this guy is trying to rip open these spindles, which are actually entryways to other realms in this universe. But the reason that they're all closed is because it kind of causes a lot of imbalance and it kind of messes things up a lot. But he's trying to tear them all open and kind of take over this whole realm. And so Coraine, she gets this whole group together, not herself. She's not really leading it as much as these other two are, but they get this whole group together to go off and save the ward, which is what their universe is called. Such a fun concept, and the map inside of it is like gorgeous. It looks so high fantasy, and it was such a fun and intriguing overview that I thought that I could get that like D&D campaign feeling out of it, and I really didn't, which sucks, but I mean, it got me to read it, so I can't be too mad. But I did end up rating this book a 3-star. It definitely was not my favorite. I just thought I would like it, and I don't know entirely why I thought this would be different than Red Queen, which I didn't love and still need to finish that series. But I still managed to be a little bit disappointed, which sucks. But also, it is what it is. I just thought the writing was like kind of so heavy at some point where my eyes just started to glaze over, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, what's happening? When did this happen? I missed some things because of just I couldn't really understand the writing at some point, and it also took me just forever to get there. Like, it was so slow, and it already is a little bit long, and just to have that added bonus of it being super slow and having really long chapters kind of just sucked a little bit and kind of took away some enjoyment from me. And I will say some of the relationships in this book did feel a little bit forced, which I hate. Some of their interactions didn't feel natural, and some of their interactions were just because like, oh, you can tell this is the beginning of a romantic relationship and she's wanting to get that idea set in now, but it's just not really coming up naturally, which I just hate. And I find it kind of funny because the romantic relationship that I'm actually like rooting for in this book series now had none of those moments that felt forced, and that's probably why I like them so much. I don't know if they're actually gonna get together, but I love them. But there is kind of a beginning of a found family in this book. In fact, this book honestly is more about their crew coming together than it is about defeating Taristan and closing the spindles. Like, yeah, that's their focus, like close the spindles and save the world, but they have to get a crew together first. And so they get together this like honestly really cool crew, and I think by page 400 where they finally all came together, which is kind of crazy, but honestly I kind of liked it too. Like, you got to see them come together, and it wasn't just super rushed, it was drawn out, and this book really did have a lot, kind of a lot of exposition in it, and maybe that's also another reason I didn't like it so much. Super cool crew, and I enjoyed seeing them all come together. I just wish I enjoyed the writing a little bit more, because then it would have been obviously a lot more enjoyable. But I read it, and I'm so glad that I did read it, and I'll probably read the other books in the series because that's who I am. I own the second book, so I have to read it now. Luna decided to come out from behind me. She wanted to be seen in the camera. Okay, so those are all the books that I read in February. There's a lot, I know. Though I did have like some good diversity. I had a reread, I had an ARC, which was also an ebook, and then I had a book for my physical TBR. So I do say that is successful. Now, okay, so you remember when I said in like my last wrap up how I was like, I don't need any more books. So I broke my book buying ban, but this book that I'm about to talk about isn't actually bought because this one was sent to me by Meaghan Dwyer on Twitter, and it honestly just like made my week getting this book in the mail. And so that is The Simmons House Kills by Meaghan Dwyer. This book is honestly like pretty short, and it is a YA mystery thriller about this kind of like secret society that this girl comes into, and one event this lady is about to spill some secrets, and all of a sudden she just kind of drops dead. And so now this girl has to figure out what the heck is going on in this secret society, and kind of like this idea of like shutting it down, which is honestly really cool. And she has to team up with this other guy who she calls the Sherlock Holmes fanboy, which is super funny. And I have a feeling that we're gonna get kind of a cute little Pip and Ravi kind of love story in this book. I do think it's going to be super fun, and I can't wait to dive into it. I don't know when I'm gonna read it. I actually don't remember when it comes out. After I'm done filming this video and I'm editing, I will like drop down below or something when this book does come out so you guys can know. I will try and read this book before that date comes out. So depending on that date, I might need to read it in March. Actually, I do think I need to read it in March. So this is on my March TBR because I do need to read it. So yeah, and I'm super excited. I know it's gonna be super quick because I just read thrillers pretty quick. So thank you, Meaghan. You're an angel. Made my like month getting this book in the mail, and it made me feel so cool. So thank you. And then I did order 6 books from Book Outlet. Book Outlet had a sale, okay? And I'm nothing if not weak, and it was my reward for getting through the month. So I bought a whole bunch of books from Book Outlet, and I'm not going to reveal what any of them were. I think I'm going to save that for a unboxing video, which I think would be super fun. At least I think it would be fun. Let me know if you guys think that would be fun. Please feel free to tell me if you don't want that. And then we have to move into my March TBR. So I'm not going to be sharing all the books on my March TBR because as of right now, I am planning to do a reading vlog during spring break. I don't entirely know what my work schedule is going to look like during spring break because I'm still going to be here and working, but I think it would be a really fun time to do a reading vlog since I won't really have as much homework to do. It just seems like a smart idea, and it'll be my first reading vlog, and so I'm not going to reveal what those books are yet until I get to that video. Just like, I guess on the odd chance that I don't actually end up getting to it, but also surprise and intrigue. So I'm not going to reveal all of the books on my March TBR, but I will talk about some of them. House of Hades by Rick Riordan. Gosh, why did I just forget his name? My best friend slash roommate Laurel is currently reading this book right now, and I'm letting her get a little bit ahead. School has sent us behind so much in reading lately, so it's been kind of hard to keep up a buddy read, but we are getting through it. I want her to get ahead so we can just like read together and move like on together. So I'm not gonna be starting this one super soon, but it will be started in March and hopefully finished in March. That one again just depends entirely on school schedules because guys, it's been crazy. But this one is the 4th book in the Here's Olympus series, which I just talked about at the beginning of this video, and this one is honestly insane, full of angst. So I can't wait to scream about this book once again. And again, I think this will be my first time actually rereading this book since I first read it. So that's also gonna be super fun and like crazy. This is gonna be crazy, so can't wait. Okay, I don't know why I didn't start with this book, considering it's probably gonna be my first read of March, and I actually already started it. But guys, I'm reading Powerless by Lauren Roberts. My sister-in-law just read this book, and I have been fighting the urge to read it for so long just because I'm like, it's not time yet, like I need to like save it for the right time. And now I'm just kind of like, I'm just gonna read it now, like who cares? I want to read it, I'm gonna read it now, and I have so much faith in this book. This one follows 2 main characters, and in this world where people have inherited these like powers, and there's this tournament to determine kind of like the most powerful, and this girl gets thrown in this tournament and she actually has no powers. It's honestly just like super insane, and I heard that the romance in it is like The romance in it's honestly the main reason that I kind of want to read it. I just heard such amazing things, and I have been also just like craving a really good romance lately. So I think this will kind of fulfill that craving, and I will be so excited if it does, and if this ends up being a 5-star. Like, I kind of feel like it might be. This honestly, guys, this might be the first 5-star of the year. And I've read the first 50 pages, and I've honestly really liked it so far. The chapters are super short, which is nice. I already like the 2 main characters. We are off to a promising start, and I can't wait to see where this one goes. I am kind of hoping to finish that one within this next week, so by the time spring break comes along, I don't have to like put a book on hold for the reading vlog that I have planned. It's gonna be really bad if I don't end up doing that reading vlog, and I just spent this entire video kind of mentioning that reading vlog. The next book that I want to read in March is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. And okay, the main reason that I want to read this book is because I've been getting the urge to annotate something lately. Like, I haven't annotated a book in forever, and this is a book that I literally bought and said, when I read this, I'm going to annotate. So I want to annotate. This is a book I'm planning to annotate. This is a book I'm planning to read in March. I just got new annotating pens and highlighters, and I'm so excited to use them in this. And this one is a relatively short book, which is super nice because it takes me forever to annotate. I save my annotating for relatively shorter books. This one is like kind of like weird. It's like about this kind of robbery happening at a open house, I think, and like people are held hostage. And then I think they just all end up giving each other therapy. So I'm sure that the quotes I'm gonna pull from this book are gonna be super good. Like, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be more of a literary fiction, which I honestly really do enjoy. And so I can't wait to dive into this one. The last book on my March TBR that I'm going to be sharing with you guys is going to be an e-arc. I'm really hoping to get another one in this month. So I am planning on reading, unless I change my mind, because that's a possibility, I'm planning on reading The Encanto's Daughter by Melissa de la Cruz, which is like a book surrounding Filipino myths and magic. And I honestly just like love a good mythology story, especially if it's a cultural kind of mythology story. Like, I just love that. It's so intriguing, and I would love to read more about that. And I don't know much about this book, I'm not gonna lie. And honestly, I'm kind of fine with not knowing really what it's about going into it. Like, I don't mind going into this blind. And this will be my first book written by Melissa de la Cruz. In case you don't know, Melissa de la Cruz is the author who wrote the Descendants series, which blew up into like obviously a Disney movie like franchise. And she has a whole bunch of actually other books that are YA and honestly like look really intriguing. And honestly, if I really like it, I'm definitely gonna go check out her other books, because that would make sense too. I'm just honestly looking forward to reading this book and to see what it does entail. I think it's a YA urban fantasy with Filipino mythology. I could be wrong on that part, but I think it's just gonna be fun to go into it blind. And there's always a chance that I change my mind and decide like, oh, I want to read a different e-arc this month, which is like completely fine. But as of right now, my plan is to read that one, which I am looking forward to. Those are all the books that I read in February and the books I'm planning on reading in March. I am glad that I was able to get in 3 books this month, because I kid you not, I was squeezing in Realm Breaker. Literally yesterday, I read 100 pages of it because I was like, I'm gonna finish this book and I don't have too much homework to work on. So I'm gonna spend my entire day finishing this book. And I did. So go me. I am looking forward to this March. I'm hoping that it goes a lot better than February. Honestly, I feel like there's a good chance it goes a lot better than February. I feel like that's not a high bar. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe below. And I will see you guys all next week. Bye!